to pass it around. We're not going to pull out chairs. So. All right. Start promptly at 5:30 when it starts on. So credits on running. Well, so they do that. 5 to 5:30 is the reception, and then he'll talk to him for about 10 minutes. Hopefully, we'll get out of here. So maybe might not. Yeah. Stand over here by you, Ernie. You mind holding that? And I'll come back again.
So welcome everyone. We've been doing this, the Board and Aldermen have been doing this for a long time. This is the largest crowd we've ever had. We don't have this many chairs. I've asked the fire chief to just sort of not pay attention to it. It's going on for a minute. So Pastor Smith, if you would offer an invocation, please, sir.
Our Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight to say thank you for the privilege to be here in this group of people. As we looked around the room, we probably looking at some, maybe that someday I'll be sitting up here on the platform where these ladies and gentlemen are sitting. We don't know. We thank you for these seniors. Pray thy blessings upon each one of them as they begin their careers. And may your Holy Spirit guide them. And we thank you for the mayor and the board tonight. We pray that you'd bless them. And may whatever decisions are made tonight be according to the will of God. Thank you for the privilege to live in this city. Help us to be at our best for thee. In Jesus' name. Amen. Let's say the pledge to the flag, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Smith. Okay, so what we're going to do now is that we've got several different groups that we want to recognize tonight, and thanks everyone for being here. This is just an exceptional group of students. We have athletes here, we have academic folks here, we have leaders here, so please bear with us for just the next few minutes. So, first on the agenda, we have Coach Morris here. Coach Morris, where are you? I'm going to ask you to step here and introduce our national champion.
Hey guys, is this on? We have Katie Champion. She's a sophomore. Recently, Katie, we traveled to nationals in Missouri, the Adidas National Tournament, and Katie won first place. She was able to avenge a loss from a really tough opponent that she wrestled in Oklahoma, so it was really sweet. So sophomore national champion at 145 pounds. Not only is Katie an exceptional wrestler, but she is in the band. She plays soccer and she has a 4.3 GPA, so she is well-rounded.
So Katie, we're very proud of you and your teammates as well. This is a certificate recognizing you as the 2019 Adidas National Champion. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Dr. Zimmerman. There's Dr. Zimmerman. There she is, okay. So Dr. Zimmerman is the vice principal at Tullahoma High School. She is the CTN directors, and she's got some students that have also received recognition, state recognition. Dr. Zimmerman.
We have several student organizations that compete statewide and are going on to nationals. in Kentucky and Florida and San Antonio. We already did nationals with for DECA last month. But I'd like to invite all of the CTE folks to come on up and stand here with me. Some of you were CTE winners also in DECA that I don't have on my list. Why don't you guys step down? One more step. Okay, then why don't you go behind? I'm gonna let you tell me what your place So last month in DECA, which is mostly marketing, Madison Doherty placed first in her category. And what was that?
Accounting.
And if it's all right, I'm going to pass the mic around and let them introduce themselves and tell them what, tell you their name and what event they placed in. So Madison, try that.
Okay. Hi, I'm Madison Doherty, and I compete in DECA at the high school. And I went to nationals this year and was a top 15 finalist in accounting.
I'm Kayla Tennyson, and I placed first in architectural drafting.
And don't go past that.
And I placed first in the online scrapbook and second on website design for FBLA.
So she competed in 2 national organizations and placed in both.
I'm Ariana Newson, and I placed second in business plan for FBLA.
I'm Aubrey Sharon, and I placed first place website design FBLA.
I'm Melanie Pisanos, and I placed first in partnership with business for FBLA.
My name's Abigail Oliver, and I placed third in state for job interview.
I'm Landon Turner. I placed first in state in automated manufacturing technology.
I'm Michael Kumnick. I also placed first in automated manufacturing technology state competition with Landon.
So if you are going to national or have been to national competition, will you raise your hand? So we've got an active summer coming up.
So I saw Miss Rose here earlier. Is Mrs. Rose still here? Principal Rose.
Mrs. Rose and Mr. Carver are both here.
Yes, I want to recognize Miss Rose as well. If you'd like to say a few things about these students as well.
They're great. Make my job easy. Make my job easy. Now, this year, we have seen a real push in our CTE program. We've seen an increase in the number of programs that we're offering and an increase in the number of students who are becoming involved at higher and higher levels. We're very proud of all of you and what you've accomplished. You make us look good, and we appreciate it, and congratulations to all of you. Mr. Carter?
You know, I continue to be impressed by the young people here in Tullahoma, and their duty and their sense to serve. And Ms. Timms, you want to raise your hand there just real quick? Right here. Yeah. I've got her working on a special project. She's going to redesign the front entrance to the district office. So she came over and got measurements today, and I'm excited for what you're going to create. But you know, one of the things we want to do is we want to get you guys plugged into the real world so you can have real world experiences. So, thank you.
As I hope everyone knows that John Carver, Director of Schools. Thank you, Mr. Carver, for being here tonight. Thank you, students, very much. So we have another group that we would like to recognize that also represent Tullahoma as well and have done so in a very unique way. We're very pleased that our 3 Miss Tullahomas have joined us this evening. Let me ask the 3, the Little Miss Tullahoma, the Junior Miss, and the Miss Tullahoma to step up front, please, and I'll introduce each one. Just stand right there and turn around. Yep. So our first Little Miss Tullahoma is Camille Ryan Carr. She is a student at Thayer Elementary School. She's in kindergarten class with Mrs. Brooks, Mr. Brooks' class. She loves animals of all kinds and loves playing outdoors, but also loves dressing up every chance she gets.
You can tell, look at her shoes.
She attends Long School of Dance, and she's taking ballet and tap. She plans on attending a horse camp this summer, and she loves gymnastics, but is currently taking a break. Her parents are Robbie and Wendy Carr. So, ladies and gentlemen, our new Little Miss Tullahoma. Okay, our junior Miss Tullahoma is Elizabeth Mahaffey. She is an 8th grader at East Middle School. She has been in East Middle School and Tullahoma Middle School cheerleader for the past 2 years. One of her favorite hobbies is filming and editing videos in her video production class. Her after-school activities include dance class, cheerleading, and gymnastics. In her free time, she enjoys spending time with friends and family, and especially her little brother. Ladies and gentlemen, our junior Miss Tullahoma. And our new Miss Tullahoma is Cameron Brazier. She is 18 years old, a senior at Tullahoma High School. In the fall, she plans to move to Cookeville to pursue her Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Tennessee Tech University. She will then continue her education to pursue a currently undecided specialty in the medical field. In her free time, Cameron likes to spend time with her friends and family, go to the beach, and play with her dog, Nova. She has competed in Miss Tullahoma pageants for 7 years and is so excited and honored to hold the title of Miss Tullahoma 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Tullahoma, Cameron Brazier. I'm going to have the board members stand up and join me up front for a picture, please. So, ladies, like to speak to the group here?
Y'all are just saying bye-bye to Hope.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Okay, I've asked each of the aldermen to introduce some of our senior class superlatives. So I'm going to start with Dr. Blanks, if you don't mind. Let you step up front here and present your academic awards and anything that you'd like to say. The floor is yours.
It's good to see such a good turnout tonight. Like the mayor said, we've been doing this for quite a number of years. I can't remember this many people being in here, so it's great. Support of parents and teachers and staff. Like Wayne always says, nothing happens just by chance. It takes a lot of people behind the scenes. So I'd like to recognize the hard work of some of these people this afternoon. This first certificate of recognition presented to Lillian Charbonneau for achieving the honor of valedictorian. She's not having a hot flash right now. Congratulations. She's going on to school at Knoxville, correct? She's going to do great things. valedictorian is Natalie Tullahoma. Where are you going on to school?
Notre Dame.
She's going to Notre Dame. Go Irish. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd like to say one quick thing if you want to join your peers. This last weekend at UT, the engineering school had their graduation. And we had 3 people that graduated at the top of their engineering classes that had Tullahoma connection. Grant Rinkney in chemical engineering, Jonathan Farmer in nuclear engineering, and Adam Daniel in mechanical engineering. So, and Tullahoma does a great job of educating their children. So y'all do great things, I know you will, and when you get old, or not so old, come back here.
Alderman Dunn.
First, thank you all for being here tonight. I'm going to be recognizing students who took the PSAT, and I think we have close to 2 million students who do that every year, and 16,000, so that's less than 1%, are recognized for their outstanding achievement on that particular test. So these students studied hard for it, even if it wasn't, part of their regular routine. At the very least, these folks put in the hours over and over and over again. So congratulations to all these, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 students. So making the less than 1% of the entire United States? Okay, cool. All right, so the first one I have, some of these names you'll recognize. Lillian Charbonneau for National Merit Commended. My next one is Sydney Ellis, National Merit Commended. I have for National Merit Commended, Miss Lila Saunders. Oh, sure. No, we don't have to. Oh, I was just asking. Sure. Here, okay. We'll take a picture. Yeah, and if anybody else, sorry, I apologize.
We're going to do a group picture shortly.
Okay, great. Group pictures shortly. For National Merit Commended, Miss Natalie Padero. For National Merit Finalist, Amy Christopher. For National Merit Scholar, Madison Duffy.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn. And this Alderman Keene, please. Special recognitions also.
All right, I'll be recognizing the Perfect ACT recipients. 1.8 million students take this annually, and less than 1,000 received a Perfect ACT. So this is a major accomplishment for these 2 individuals. Madison Doherty. And Brandon Perry. And then for the Tennessee Scholar, I had to read a little bit about this one because I wasn't really for sure as to what all it entailed, but this is something that the student receives to be able to get in today's workforce. And it's much preparation. Their curriculum has to be extremely heavy. They're studying all of the broad spectrum. They almost have to be a dual student and also perform 80 hours of volunteer service in our community. And that is just greatly appreciated. I know he and his parents they're very involved in our community. So we want to recommend, we highly are proud of you and everything that you've done. Zachary.
Thank you, Alderman Keene. Alderman Norris, please, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be introducing the senior superlatives. And we'll be starting with Matt Ross for being Mr. THS. Matt, we're going to miss you on that football team. And Miss THS, that's Natalie Fedaro. Okay, here's another one. The wittiest, Ty Cox. I was really going to miss you on that football team also.
Chance to take on these, baby.
All right. Okay, and this wittiest is Anna Moran.
You're going to miss me on the football team too.
Congratulations.
I'll get a good round of applause for the most school spirit. Tom Ellis. Good man. Commodore. All right. And this most school spirit, Ruth Ann Terry.
I'm going to the University of Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Thank you, Alderman Norris. Alderman Duncan, please, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the distinct honor. There's a cheat sheet here. I have some good ones here. The neatest, the most versatile, the friendliest, and it's indeed an honor for me to make this presentation. And one other thing I'd like to say while I direct your attention. There's a little poem in it should be in every one of these, but I think some of you were in two categories, so you might get two. If you get two of these, you got one too many. That means somebody else came up short. But here's a little poem. It says, "Your destiny," I wrote this poem also. "Your destiny lies with you. There's such a big world that awaits you, so many places and people to see. But don't let bad choices or others' agendas influence you to be less than you can be. Don't ever forget the support group behind you that helped you to get to where you are now. All those who have encouraged and loved you are praying that you will make it somehow. Temptation and evil will tempt you and try you every single day of your life. But faith in God and good common sense will lead you and guide you to do what is right. Don't give in to cheap sensations or pleasurable moments that soon will fade. Don't entertain things that can change your future and the pleasure be gone before the light of day. Always know that life is all about choices, and you have the final say for you. And know that when you've made good decisions and done your best, dreams do come true. Congratulations, class of 2019. If you get two of these, you got one too many. Somebody else didn't get one. And some of the categories, we'll work it out. If you didn't get one, I'll make sure you get one. This certificate of recognition presented to Asher Red, the neatest Tullahoma High School class senior superlative 2019. of Alabama. I thought I'd make Coach feel good over here. That one I know he does. He lights up every time. Already there's a big A on it anyway. The next one, Kelly Wynn.
University of Michigan.
All right.
Football team.
This one is presented to Ethan Sheriff for being the most versatile. A long way in life. And where are you going to school? East Tennessee State. All right. The also most versatile, Lila Saunders. Auburn. This one is the friendliest, Daniel Moritano. UTC. All right. All right. And for being selected as the friendliest, Katie Saltzman. UTC also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alderman Duncan. Alderman Coach Mathis.
I like it, Alderman Coach Mathis. So I have the honor of, first of all, most likely to succeed. I was the same thing in high school, it just didn't work out. I was most likely, but it didn't work. So anyway, I would like to recognize Mason Trevuk.
Where's he going to school, Coach?
Where are you going to school?
Vanderbilt. Go to
All right! Most athletic, Kobe Burks. Let me just look at you. Middle Tennessee State. That's what I thought. Jane Allen. Miss Jane?
We'll get it to her.
We'll get it to her.
I think. I saw her grandmother at the post office. And
She goes to my church block, and I'll make sure she gets it.
so I'm pleased to recognize several of the other leaders here. We may have our senior class officers step forward, Miss Terry, Amy Christopher. I also want to recognize our student body class officers, Mark Blackburn and Tom Ellis. Are the ones that get things done, whether it be in a family, a church, a community, or an organization, okay? But leadership is about serving. So I would always encourage you to remember that as leaders, you're also serving. You're servant leaders. Those are our best leaders. So I'm pleased to recognize Ruth Ann Terry is the president of the senior class, and Christopher is vice president, and the student body class officers, Mark Blackburn and Tom Ellis. So congratulations. Okay, this is going to be a challenge, I know, but let me have all the superlatives up here, please, for a picture.
Were you the wittiest? Yes. Yes. He was so witty. I had your class and I thought, is he lying to me? Is he lying that he got it?
You've been a bad girl, they won't let you do that.
That's right.
You just take over.
Just don't get me on camera.
If you're gonna hold your,
Fold up fingers. If you have multiple, just pick one again.
you don't have to hold it back behind. Hands to the side? No, go ahead and hold that. Hands to the side. Hands to the side.
All right.
There's so many cameras.
Bobby, put them over here, buddy.
Okay.
Wow.
Alright, that's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Hang on. All right, say Alabama. So ball.
Hi, Captain.
Okay, superlatives. Okay, I want you to, superlatives to turn around and look at me. Back up. I want you to be able to see everybody. I want to see everybody. Get them that bottom look. Like a semicircle? Yeah, semicircle.
So don't fall down.
Y'all step down on the bottom floor and make a semicircle, please.
Step on the bottom.
Okay, I want the parents to hear this also. So, first, thank you for being here tonight. We are pleased to recognize you for your many achievements. We are proud of you. You are leaders today, and I'm confident you will be our leaders tomorrow. But let me tell you why you're really here. I want you to hear firsthand that we want you and your fellow classmates to continue your education, work a few years, and then come back to Tullahoma. I suspect all of you, if not most of you, are ready to leave Tullahoma. I know I was 45 years ago. I couldn't wait to leave Tullahoma. But something drew me back, and I hope those of you who choose to leave will want to return as well. You probably don't appreciate it fully now, but this is a good community made up of many hardworking, compassionate people. And many people in Tullahoma are working hard to design and build a community you will want to return to work and to raise your family. You want a safe community with good schools, promising careers, friendly neighborhoods, and plenty of entertainment options. We have some of these attributes now, and we're working hard on the others. So in the near future, come on back and help build the Tullahoma that you want and what future generations of high school seniors will want. We'll leave the lights on for you. Thank you for being here tonight. You have helped make Tullahoma the class community it is. Thank you very much. Miss Rose and Mr. Carver are still here. I want them to say a few comments to you as well, please. They slipped out. Okay. So again, thanks everybody for being here tonight. We appreciate all of you and your hard work and look forward to big things from all of you in the future. Thank you very much.
You did well.
Have to say something, or they're gonna send their mingle.
Like you and me. That's what happened though when
Mine's still acting like it wants to come on.
when you bank on technology. I got it on this one.
Well, I'd already downloaded. I always download the agenda to have it.
Yeah, I downloaded on this one. It just actually I downloaded on my other laptop, on my other another server.
Right.
And that from that server I can download the 15, but this thing deactivated, but still tied to my other computer. It's kind of like a
Really?
yeah, it's a hub.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and it allows me, if I'm supposed to a network of some sort,
Pull it up.
I can pull it up, whatever, already been downloaded. I think I didn't download and open up. I sent it to this file, but I didn't download it on this phone. Dang, it's probably messed up. Yeah, this one that day. This one that day. See you there next time. Oh boy, it's clear down here.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Okay, you're welcome to stay if you'd like. Otherwise, we're going to start our meeting. Mr. Noah, why does everybody leave?
They just don't know how exciting it can be.
Oh, man. Whoa.
Senator Bowling does.
But she's not staying, watching.
Okay. We'll start the meeting. First on the agenda is a public hearing to rezone, request to rezone approximately .46 acres at 211 West Coffee Street from high-density residential R3 to general commercial C2. So I assume this item had a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission.
It did.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to address the issue on this rezoning issue, which is later on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. We'll start our regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Ms. Golden, roll call, please.
Yes, Mayor Curley.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem King.
Here.
Alderperson Blanks.
Here.
Duncan.
Here.
Dunn. Here. Noah.
Here.
Mathis.
Here.
7 present.
All right, we have a quorum, so we will proceed. We've dispensed with the invocation and pledge of allegiance to the flag. We've completed our commendations and certificates. We're ready for me to recognize Ms. Moody for an Employee of the Month presentation.
Thank you. This month I am especially honored to recognize this employee. This is someone who truly is a humble servant, has been a longtime employee of the city, I believe 36 years. Somebody who would never ask for this kind of recognition, but is very deserving of it. This month's Employee of the Month is Rosie Barnes from our police department. Before we let Rosie speak, there are a few others that would like to honor her tonight. I think I'll recognize Lieutenant Phil Henderson. And our acting chief, Jason Farrell, would be here. He was sick today. And I know he would love to say a few words of thank you and gratitude to you. Rosie's somebody who I think works so hard. She's one of those people that she is so good that she makes everyone around her better. So we really appreciate and are thankful for you. Lieutenant Henderson.
Good evening. This actually came from Investigator Pulowski, and she had written that Rosie always goes above and beyond. She keeps the police department running. She not only takes on her responsibilities, but is always willing to help anyone who wants to learn. If Rosie doesn't know the answer, she can find it. She's always been there. It's one of the first people that I met when I came on with the police department 32 years ago, so she had 4 years on me, and she already knew all the ropes. Raina goes on to say Rosie is priceless. Then we were asked, myself, Lieutenant Farrell, were asked what else Rosie did. And the things that she does, she makes sure that everything that goes into the TBI is correct. That actually has things to do with the grants that I get to write and what kind of funding we can get through those. She makes sure that everything that is reported to the TBI is correct. And those are, just the smallest mistake can count off on you as far as an address, like 2987 New Rock Creek Road. If that's outside the corporate city limits of Tullahoma and you put that person is a resident, that's a mistake. And I think she might get maybe one. It's end of the month is really exciting in the police department. But she also helps other departments. If they need to have somebody that needs a little training, they can send them over. Rosie will sit down with them and give them some ideas and some pointers and some insight to what goes on. And that's what two of these gentlemen are doing here tonight. Sheriff Parton and Chief Brent Perry from the Franklin County Sheriff's Department. You want to say anything about Miss Rosie?
Parton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. It's an honor to be here to recognize this lady. It's a personal honor to be here. Rosie has been my friend for going on 30 years now, hand in hand. As a young deputy sheriff in this county, Rosie was a go-to person. If we had something going on this end of the county, or if it bled off into Moore County or Franklin County, Rosie was the person you went to. You didn't go down to the detective division and see the detectives. You went over to the detective administrative assistant. You went to see Rosie. As my career progressed, our relationship bonded and got closer. As I went to work in our district attorney general's office, I can without a shadow of a doubt say that every assistant district attorney general, investigator, and the district attorney general themselves would call upon Rosie to find out information. You don't realize how critical the job that Rosie has done, how valued and important it has been in solving crimes and very important cases in this county. And I will go on to say it has helped solve several homicides that's taken place in not only Coffee County but in the surrounding counties based off the information and the hard work that Rosie done. And I'll tell you a little detail about that. Rosie sat down there for years and years and years entering pawn slip tickets into the system. She was very dedicated to it, detailed to it, while us Coffee County guys and Manchester guys
that was the most dreaded and hated job ever. You'd get just stacks and stacks of them. And now it's all computerized and it's automatically entered. But Rosie was dedicated to it. The days that Pat Holder and Tilden Stubblefield and even when J.C. Farrell was a detective, Rosie kept them going. And all those folks tell me do not ever, ever bypass Rosie. So it is an honor and a privilege to be here to recognize a lifelong friend nearly for me. Freddie Bush and Rosie have, we basically have grown up together in a community of the county. So it's really special to be here. And I'll go on to tell you, when I got elected sheriff, I tried to steal her from you. I did, didn't I? I tried really hard. Probably one of the most dedicated employees you'll ever have in this city government. Don't lose her. You keep her and you cherish her. Thank y'all.
So, Sheriff, I'm surprised you admitted to that.
I keep a close watch on him, Mayor.
Yeah, a little bit different at you from now on.
Well, we would like you to say a few words.
It's been different, difficult times, good times, but I've enjoyed it here. I have enjoyed working for the city and the people I work with. And I've been through 4 chiefs in 36 years, and we're fixing to hire another one, so I look forward to working with that new chief also. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve the city all these years.
Thank you. So, Rosie, how long do you think it's going to take for you to train the new chief? I mean, you've trained 4 that I know. So, does it take just a couple of months, or do you get them trained right the way you want them?
Probably a couple of years.
We can count on you being here then at least that long. All right.
Whenever I pass Miss Barnes in the hallway, she always has such a pleasant disposition. Always. Okay, congratulations again. Thank you, Ms. Moody. All right, I'm also pleased to recognize this as National Police Week, to recognize National Police Week 2019 and to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas there are approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Tullahoma Police Department. Whereas according to FBI statistics, there have been 60,211 assaults against law enforcement officers in 2017, resulting in approximately 17,000 injuries. Whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 30th Annual Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13, 2019. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and the families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of the Board Member and Alderman, I, Lane Curley, Mayor of the City of Tullahoma, Tennessee, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim May 12 through 18, 2019 as Police Week in Tullahoma, and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. So congratulations and thanks to all of our law enforcement officers. Okay, ready for any comments from citizens? Anyone in the audience wish to address the board at this time? Seeing none, we will proceed. We have ready for board reports. Let's go first, Mr. Mathis.
Thank you, Lane. I do not have a report other than we need to be aware that Friday night is Tullahoma High School graduation. There'll be a lot of kids out, a lot of things going on. We need to be very, very safe and be aware of what's going on and know that there's a lot of people celebrating. So let's take care of that, all right?
Good advice, thank you. Alderman Duncan.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got several things here, so I'm gonna run through them pretty quick. Did the Chamber Coffee. I was honored to do the invocation for the Tennessee Backroads Heritage Society dinner in War Trace. I was also, once again, honored to do on the National Day of Prayer, to do the prayer for government at the Manchester City Hall program. And for during the last 2 weeks, there was like 9 days of fundraising at Alabama A&M University, which I participate in every year for the last 20 years or so. So I was back and forth down there. I did about 4 days of that, and got quite a bit of airtime on the radio, and they do broadcast 100,000 watt FM stereo, and they stream worldwide. So I read poetry worldwide that Friday a week ago, and with some other local poets down there. And it's out on the internet somewhere. But anyway, we did that, raised quite a bit of money for them during that 9-day period. Tullahoma got mentioned a bunch of times. So they always give me great treatment when I'm there, and they know where Tullahoma is. A lot of them have never been here, but they know where it is anyway, for sure. I'm still doing some research work with the University of the South for their history program. See a couple of events getting ready to culminate here very soon. Did the monthly mayor's department heads meeting. We did the citywide trash pickup. It seems like it's a long time ago now, doesn't it? I'm also working with the Davidson Academy reunion committee, getting a reunion scheduled up for August. August first weekend in August, which it'll be August the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I believe. And I know that's when it is. So anyway, but we're working on that, trying to get the word out worldwide on that one. So, and it's a little bit more challenging than it used to be. We should send it out by mail, but now we're doing it. Well, it's not quite as challenging. We'll be able to get it out quicker, really, through Facebook and social media and all that. So we're working on that. But it's some challenges for old folks to take on all these new types of ventures. So anyway, but we're working on it. And and I did the TAEDC meeting, and immediately after that same morning, I entertained the West Middle School History Department. They came in 4 segments to C.D. Stamps Community Center, and I gave them the history of Davidson Academy, 4 45-minute presentations, and I was about to talk myself to death, I think. I was trying to get somebody to ask some questions there, but everybody's just listening, so it worked out really good, though, and I was extremely happy just to be a part of that. So that's pretty much it.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Blanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Since our last meeting, I've had a Duck River meeting. We had plenty of rainfall, so Normandy is full. Hopefully they won't draw it down too much for summer pool in case we have a drought. Also had a Tullahoma Utilities Authority meeting. Nothing out of the ordinary there. We are last month, I think, plus 13 sign-ups on LightTube, so that continues to progress. So that's all I have. One last thing. Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman King.
Thank you. I too attended the Chamber Coffee, and last Friday they had the horseplay luncheon, which was very, very well attended. The group of people do a wonderful job for our community, and I'm really glad that I can be a part of that. Our work helps do all the takeout lunches, and I don't know what the total was, but it was amazing. We start at 9:30. And it is amazing how many lunches go out of there. So thank you to everyone who was involved with that. Also attended a planning and coordinating meeting that we had last week. And then also the city had our service awards and recognized those who had interval years of 5, 10, 30-something years. So we want to thank all those dedicated employees, those who continue to serve and those who continue to choose to serve Tullahoma and stay with us. So we do appreciate everything you do. And that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Ms. King. Alderman Dunn.
Yeah, I went to Karen King's 4th grade class at Vera last week, which was really nice, and those kids were excellent. They asked all sorts of really good questions, and Miss King asked if they could have a compost bin at Farah. So I thought we could do that. Yeah, Butch is nodding. So I think we can do that. But okay, yeah. But they were a great group, and I enjoyed visiting with them. And then we had a public service announcement contest that we had at the Tullahoma High School freshmen, and Juliet Orwera. Ooh, I hope I said that right. She won first place. She did an outstanding job. Hope to have that out on YouTube pretty soon. I was really thrilled. We're having the flooding talk is happening on June 6th. So Paul Davis, the TDEC director, is going to come down, and we're going to talk about the risk of flooding and what individuals can do to kind of help prevent that, what the city can do to help prevent that. And it's really starting to turn into more of a community-minded event. I've got this was nothing to do with me, but the Master Gardeners program, they're going to have, I don't want to say too much, steal much of their thunder, but they are going to have a display, an example of a rain garden somewhere very prominent in town. I think it's going to really help give people in Tullahoma an idea of, okay, I can take care of some of this my very own self. So I was really excited about that. So June 6th, we're having our flooding talk. Hope you guys can make it. It's going to be at 6 o'clock at D.W. Wilson. So that's it.
Very good, thank you. Alderman Lewis.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Kiwanians prayer breakfast a week ago last Saturday, and a week ago last Thursday I attended the Dream Tullahoma, that meeting that we're trying to be a little more active. One of the more exciting things I've done since our last meeting was attending the open house dedication of Motlow's Automation and Robotics in McMinnville. That is a wonderful center that they have there, and encourage anyone to take a look at that. It's quite outstanding. I also attended the Service Awards banquet and the horseplay activity as well. And tomorrow I'll be attending the AAC meeting at Gossick Center and the airport board meeting tomorrow night. On a sad note, a very, very sad note, last Friday I attended the funeral service for a good friend, a microcraft associate for over 30 years, that is sorry to lose, Carl Bone. He was an asset to the community. Thank you.
You've got a very special visitor with you tonight.
And my wife is visiting tonight, yes. My wife, Ann, is, she says I might as well go watch it down there live as to sit at home and watch it on TV.
And this would be a really good opportunity for him to take you out to dinner tonight.
She wonders, she's doing this for a reason.
Yep.
She wonders why I don't come home immediately after the meeting. So she's here to check on me.
She's going to find out tonight. She'll find out tonight.
Dinner on him afterwards.
I feel a dinner coming on. Okay, we're ready for the city attorney's report. Mr. Worsham, please, sir.
I'm sure that all of you all have read the newspaper and you're aware of the fact that we finally have put an end to the suit between the Manchester Board of Education, Coffee County, and the City of Tullahoma and the City Board of Education, all those parties together relative to the disposition of the liquor taxes that the City of Tullahoma has been collecting for a number of years. And the Supreme Court, as we thought they would, ruled in favor of the cities. So we've saved the city. The newspaper reported $400 and some odd thousand, $387,488, and that's the amount that they sued for. But they also sued for interest on that, and the suit was brought in 2014. So the interest on that would make it well over $400,000 that we would have owed had we lost that litigation. And so we feel very, very good about that. They can file a petition to rehear, but I feel very sure that the court will deny it. So I think that matter is over. There's one more matter. Manchester Board of Education versus the City of Tullahoma, which is now in arbitration. We held that in abeyance until the Supreme Court decided that issue in the main case. We think that that'll go away. We'll take some action to make sure that it does. This was begun when Mr. Morrison was city attorney, Mr. Gifford and I from our law firm then carried the ball after that until the Tennessee Municipal League agreed, because there were 5 different municipalities involved in this particular question, to take over the defense of all of those municipalities, and they did a wonderful job. And so I think I have to give them the credit for what they did, but I'm glad that that matter is an end, and this is another almost $500,000 that the city has perhaps to use for other good things in our town. Do y'all have any questions about that?
Thank you.
Other than that, we're just doing the usual routine things that we do, many of which are unmentionable in public, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Tricia. City Administrator, Mrs. Moody, please.
Well, I will use this time to thank our Public Works staff, our Parks and Recreation staff, and many others who volunteered for the 20th anniversary of the Soapbox Derby in Tullahoma. A lot of people came out, great crowd, great day, despite a little bit of rain that day. And then also just want to put a plug in for the Arts Alive Festival that's coming up May 24th and 25th. Winston Brooks is working very hard to make that a great event. I know we have more than 40 artists that are going to be participating, and food trucks that'll be out there for a great event. And then, of course, right now my priority has been working through our annual budget with the finance staff and Sue Wilson. We've had a lot of really productive meetings with city schools and our Tullahoma Airport and others. So I'll save the rest of my time for our study session.
Good. Thank you, Mrs. Moody. We have 9 items on the consent agenda. I'll just read the caption. Item number 1956, minutes of the April 22nd regular meeting. Item 1957, approve an application to the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development for a tourism enhancement grant in the amount of $75,000 and authorize local matching funds to support the project. Item number 1958, set a public hearing for Monday, June 10th, voluntary request for annexation of .685 acres of property located at 471 Parkway Road. Item number 1959, approve the Tullahoma Fire Department to participate in the Fire Pup program for its 31st year of providing fire safety education. Item number 1960, approve and authorize disposal of surplus items. 1961, approve the sole source procurement of electrostatic painting services in the amount of $10,000 to restore the iron fencing at Oakwood Cemetery. Item 1962, approve a memorandum of understanding with the Tennessee Corrections Academy to permit the use of C.D. Stamps Community Center and D.W. Wilson Recreation Center as emergency shelter in accordance with the Emergency Operation Plan. 1963, approve cancellation of the regular board meeting scheduled for Monday, May 27th. And item number 1964, approve project change order in the amount of $49,896 for major repairs to the city stormwater drainage system at Country Club Drive. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
To approve. Second.
Proper motion by Mr. Mathis, second by Ms. Keene. All those in favor of the consent agenda as presented, vote green. Opposed, vote red. Motion passes 7-0. We have one item of old business. This is the second reading of ordinance number 1520 to consider for approval an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances of the City of Tullahoma, Tennessee by deleting the word agricultural from section 7-6145 exclusions of chapter 6 fireworks of title 7 fire protection and fireworks. Is there a motion to approve on the second reading?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Proper motion by Alderman Duncan, seconded by Mr. Noes. Any discussion? All those in favor of ordinance 1520 on second reading, vote green. Opposed, vote red. Motion passes 7-0. Ms. Moody, any other old business? We have 2 items of new business. 1965, approve an agreement with, I don't know how to pronounce that, iWork, for application software to support online building permit applications, document storage, permit tracking, and payments to the Planning and Coast Department. Let me get a motion in a second.
Motion approved.
Proper motion, Dr. Blank, seconded by Mr. Noes. I ask that this be pulled onto the regular agenda because this is really good news, and I want everyone to hear what Ms. Moody's been working on. You recognize Ms. Moody?
Yes, so in planning and our building codes department, we have a number of service improvements that we'd like to make, and this is just the first. They currently use iWorks. It's a software application that allows them to do their building permits, and we're expanding that to have a public portal, so we'll be able to allow users to do their applications online from anywhere. They'll be able to track their permit online, make payments with credit cards. This is something they haven't been able to do. And also upload documents, so they're not having to bring in the same copies of insurance and things like that every time. So we really think it's going to make it more efficient and a more user-friendly process for them. And then along with this, we're looking at adding a kiosk into the lobby at Planning and Codes, so they can, if they don't want to go home and use their own computer or have a tablet or something with them, they can come in our lobby and use our computer to do their applications.
Will this allow people, like, will there be any public records that will be more visible through our website or anything, or is this?
I don't think so. I think they'll have to register and they can only track their own permits.
Okay.
But where are you? Right behind. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about like past records? Is this any way getting anything from those giant filing cabinets and putting it online or on computer?
I'm sure for some additional cost, usually
Oh,
you can
okay.
do something like that. But since we're moving from paper to electronic, it'll probably be just from this date forward. We'll
Okay,
have.
gotcha.
And we do already use it for tracking the building permit, so that date is already in there.
Okay.
It's just the applications.
Ms. Moody, if someone is applying for a permit to make a minor modification to their home and they're not computer literate, what's the avenue for them?
That's why I think that kiosk inside the lobby will be important, because today what they have to do is go see Nina in our planning and codes department and get a paper form. She'll be there to help walk them through how to use the kiosk and fill it out online.
So you will help me when I come in.
Well, you are very computer literate.
Or others.
I have the questions. Ms. Dunn, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but did you have your question answered? Okay. Ready to vote? This is some good news. All those in favor of the motion as presented, vote green, opposed, vote red. Motion passes 7-0. Ordinance number 1519, consider for approval on the first of two readings an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances of the City of Tullahoma, Tennessee by rezoning approximately .46 acres at 211 West Coffee Street from high-density residential R3 to general commercial C2. You heard earlier, Mr. Noes reported that the Planning Commission did approve and recommend approval. Is there a motion to?
So moved.
Proper motion, Mr. Noes, seconded by Mr. Duncan. Any discussion?
Was
Mr.
this
Dunn.
property, would the mixed use, would this have been a good spot for that as far as having, what was that number? I don't remember, it was
C3.
C3.
Not in the area where it's at. It would, you have to, we have to worry about spot zoning, but I mean, we'd have to rezone a whole
Gotcha.
area.
Okay.
Once we identify an area that would be good for that particular type of zoning, then I'll bring it to the planning commission and of course to the board mayor and all of you. But
I think the one thing I would share about this particular property, C3 is the zoning that we call neighborhood commercial. So you guys might remember that's an area where we would allow either some residential uses or commercial use. This property, although it was zoned residential, it was never a residential use. It was always commercial. So I think the commercial zoning is a better fit.
Okay.
Yeah.
This property was actually inappropriately used. It was only R1. It was actually being used as C3. And it's I was worried it was spot zoning when I first looked at it. But actually, on three sides of the property, it's already C3. There's one house adjacent to it that's R1. So it's consistent with its prior use that it goes to C3.
C2.
Yeah, okay.
C2.
C2. Other discussion? All those wishing to vote for the ordinance 1519 on first reading, vote green, opposed, vote red. Motion passes 7-0. Ms. Moody, any other new business? All right, we will adjourn and go immediately to the rear board portion of the agenda. Let me get your permission. You should have spread on your desk agenda item number 19BB-18. Let me have a motion, please, and a second to approve this addition to the agenda.
Second.
Proper motion by Alderman Duncan, second by Ms. King. So we're simply adding item BB-18 to the appropriate spot on the agenda in just a minute, be item number 6. All those in favor of the addition, vote green, opposed, vote red. Motion passes 7-0. All right, we have one item on the consent agenda, BB-14, minutes of the April 22nd Beer Board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Proper motion by Mr. Noes, second by Ms. Dunn. All those in favor of the consent agenda, vote green, opposed, vote red. Motion passes 7-0. We have no old business. We have 4 items of new business. Item number 19, BB-15, beer application on-premise permit for State Escape Mr. Anthony Heed will be the manager in charge of beer sales, 200 Leffer Mill Road, Tullahoma. Let me ask you to step to the podium, please, sir. Welcome.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Have you received a copy of the beer laws of Tullahoma?
Yes, the pamphlet with the, yes, sir.
Have you read that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. You understand the sale of beer is a very important responsibility.
Yes, sir. I've been a bartender for several years. I haven't applied for a license or anything, but I have my ABC, certification, and all I've ever worked under is on premise. So I'm pretty familiar with it.
Okay, good. Ms. Golden, is everything in order?
I believe it was going to be subject to the final fire inspection.
Okay, so we can get a motion in a second. Whoever does that, we need a remote. So what do you have in place to assure the board that beer will not be sold to underage individuals?
It is my understanding that on the evenings that we're serving beer, it will be exclusively for adults that night. There will be, as far as I know, no one even under 18. Yeah, all of our employees will be 18 and up, and no customers will be let in that are under 21. It will all be of-age customers.
Okay, that's interesting.
So you will not be having parties for children and be serving alcohol at all then?
No, absolutely.
So it will,
not. There'll never be a time that the two shall meet. It'll always be separate businesses. If we have nights with beer, it'll be for the adult crowd. We'll play different music and all that. And then there will be none of that in normal, weekend hours where we have kids there.
Okay. Any other questions?
How does beer and skating work?
I guess that's to be discovered. I suppose it's we're gonna when you go to the Applebee's or Ruby Tuesdays, you have a drink limit. If you're gonna be on wheels, you're probably not gonna be drinking. You're there with somebody else or something.
Just get your phone ready.
Yeah, I reckon.
Video ready. Okay, Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Proper motion, Dr. Blanks.
Second.
Second by Mr. Edwards. Any discussion? All those in favor of the, whoever made the motion, subject to a final fire inspection?
Subject to the final fire inspection.
Approval.
And approval.
Has everyone voted?
Oh, sorry.
Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay, we have BB16 beer application special event permit for the Halloween Kiwanis Break and Grain Festival. Mr. Joe Abraham, marketing chairman with the manager in charge of beer sales for this event, Fishing Lagoon Park on Saturday, June 1st, 2019. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Proper motion by Ms. Keene.
And waive the permit.
Second, and to waive the permit charge. Second by Mr. Noes. Any discussion? All those in favor of BB16, vote green, opposed, vote red. Motion passes 7-0. 19 BB17, beer application, special event permit for the Arts Alive Festival. Ms. Tina Shane will be the manager in charge of beer sales for this event in the park at South Jackson Civic Center on Saturday, May 25th and Sunday, May 26th, 2019.
Motion approved, and also waive the permit fee.
Proper motion by Dr. Blank, seconded by Mr. Duncan. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, vote green, opposed, vote red. Motion passes 7-0. You see agenda item 19 BB18, beer application special event permit, Tullahoma South Jackson Civic Center, the Jimmy Buffett Tribute Band, Saturday, May 25th at South Jackson Civic Center, 404 South Jackson Street. With the board mayor and alderman approval, Mrs. Colleen Saunders, the Tullahoma South Jackson Civic Center, will be the manager in charge of beer sales for this event. All city of Tullahoma past due license fees, taxes, and garbage bills applicants have been paid. The police department's background check is attached. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Proper motion by Mr. Mathis, and waive the permit fee, is that correct?
True.
Mr. Mathis, second, and, I'm sorry, Mr. Mathis made the motion, who seconded?
I did.
Ms. Keene, second. Any discussion? All those in favor of 19 BB18, vote green, opposed, vote red. Motion passes 7-0. Any other beer board business, Ms. Moody? No. All right, no more business, we are adjourned. But Ms. Noes, we're not ready to go yet. So we are adjourned. We're going into study session. We'll recognize Ms. Moody when she's ready for the general fund expenditures, capital plan, and debt service.
Mayor, well, we got just a moment. Can I mention something else?
Yes, sir.
I participated in a benefit on Saturday night in Lynchburg for a Mr. James Hodge, who had a double lung transplant. And it was a great program. Two groups were there, Coleman March Ensemble, which is I'm a part of, and the Cavalier Singers. It was a great singing. The weather was threatening all night, so the crowd was down because of that, but it was a great effort, great cause for that. And they are very thankful. He's had 55 days in the hospital.
Jackie, you got the stuff.
There's some more handouts.
Yes,
Jackie. There's Mr. Matthews sitting on them.
No, I was sitting on them, talking on them.
Oh, you get one of those.
Somewhere else, okay.
Oh, here's one. There's two.
I thought Lady had mentioned that.
Okay, Ms. Moody, you're recognized whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. So tonight I'm here for the second part of our budget discussion, and we will look at anticipated general fund expenditures, our capital plan, and debt service. Okay. And Alderman Mathis, I've kept it to 10 slides.
Yes, ma'am, I'm watching.
Okay, I kept it. We'll have you out of here by 7, don't you worry. Okay. So we're going to begin building the proposed budget with some assumptions. Some of these I talked about last presentation. First, we start by continuing funding for our current programs. We assume that we'll also want to fund equipment replacements and capital projects. We have already programmed in step raises consistent with our compensation plan and a 2% cost of living. And then our health insurance renewal, we're projecting a 7% increase. I had mentioned to you that we were going to have a pretty significant increase this year. I think still anything under 10%, I feel comfortable that we're making good decisions. And we really are just having a difficult high claims year. So one thing we look at is how our claims experience is trending. And by all accounts, we should be due for a good year next year. We've had about 3 bad years in a row, so things will trend up. And then also, we'll continue prioritizing some of our community programs and initiatives like Get Fit, keeping our designation as a healthier Tennessee community, the Go Green Committee's activities, being a cool and connected downtown with our free public Wi-Fi, participating in the Tennessee Downtowns program and increasing our branding strategy for downtown, supporting the Arts Council, our Tourism Council, and our outside agencies. I also expect we're going to have some additional expenses this year for our kind of one-time events. We have the 10th anniversary this year of our 41A Festival, and so the city's looking to increase our support of that event. And then the AOPA fly-in, it's going to be the only and largest event. Our event in Tullahoma is the event for the Eastern United States. So we'll be looking to support that. And I know events like this that bring in hundreds of visitors, they generate economic benefits for our community that really help keep the cost of living low for our residents. So we want to continue to support those things. And one initiative I'm excited to be starting this year is we'll be working with the state's Tourist Development Office to do a regional strategic plan for tourism. Sarah Beth Urban with their department has offered to come down and help Tullahoma for free do that. Next, I'll share with you our department requests for funding. This is not an all-inclusive list by any means, but I just wanted to give you an idea of some of the major components that we're looking at funding out of the requests, or just some of the requests. In personnel, I'm sure you won't be surprised, it takes people to do what we do, so we've had requests for 7 new full-time positions, 2 part-time positions, and then with the staff, we've talked a lot about the need to upgrade our infrastructure so that we can be more efficient and provide our services better. So IT hardware and software upgrades across all the departments people have been asking for equipment and for software to enhance what they do. And then just the cost of operations, just like any other business, sometimes costs go up year to year. So we're seeing increases in cost for printing and printer maintenance, fuel, road materials, our street sweeping, our sidewalk repairs, all those things, we're seeing some increased cost. And then we're wanting to improve and put an extra $50,000 next year in annual paving. We're wanting to fund more medical costs at the animal shelter, so having our new animal care and control facility that can handle more dogs, I think we need to also look at increasing that budget a little bit. Our administrative hearing officer program, we're still monitoring that pretty closely. We're hoping that the recovery, some of the fines and money that we recover should help offset the costs. It's working very well so far, so we'd also like to increase the number of times a year that we hold those hearings. Right now we're doing it quarterly, and we'd like to go to every other month. And then we're looking at funding some of the requests for support that we've gotten. A few agencies have asked for additional support this year. And then the census. Census 2020 is coming up, and there'll be there's already a countywide task force, but we're looking at supporting some additional marketing efforts to support the census. And then as you see there, a lot of equipment replacements or additions. Some notable ones are public safety. Both police and fire are looking to upgrade their radios to digital. Right now they use analog. The new radios would be both analog and digital capable. And smartly, they're not looking to do it all at once, but they're asking for 3-year or 4-year replacement cycle to get those new radios in. And then every year we look at replacing some of our patrol vehicles. We have so many, we need to replace them every year to stay on top of it. Some new extrication equipment for fire when they're responding to motor vehicle accidents. That's the equipment that helps save lives, get people out of the vehicles. Some other building maintenance items like the new paging system for fire stations. I think that equipment, that was something else. Probably belongs in a museum at this point, so may need some updated equipment there. Lots of equipment for solid waste, public works, parks and rec, things that they need to continue their operations. So, I summarized here some of the costs of that. So just preliminary budget to cover compensation and health insurance. We're looking at about $300,000. And then the requests from the departments are about $1.5 million. Obviously, people ask for what they need. I think they were very reserved in their request, but they also know that there'll have to be some prioritization to that. So right now, I think that we would be able to cover about $600,000 of their requests, and that's the number we're using to start kind of putting the budget together, making sure that our anticipated revenues can cover that. Okay. Next, our capital project schedule. I thought I would show you where we are with projects to date. So the animal care and control facility will be opening that June 24th, I believe is the date. Before the second meeting in June, that Monday, we'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony for that facility. And then the new fire engines in service already. Our street paving program, mostly complete, but I think with this warmer weather, there's a few more projects to finish. William Northern signalization, that's the new signalized intersection near Publix. That project is complete. And we actually received about a $25,000 credit on our contract because of some of the delays that we faced. The Avoca Road traffic study, I received that in my inbox this morning, so I marked that complete. I'll be reviewing it, of course, and getting that information back out to you after I've reviewed it. The North Jackson Streetscape Plan, it's ongoing. We're anticipated to finish that July, August, early August timeframe, and we have a public meeting coming up, not this week, but next Tuesday, the 21st. That public meeting is going to be at the Tullahoma High School at 5:30 in their library. And so we'll be looking for everybody to come out and give some input. They'll have some draft documents that they've created, and they'll be looking for more input from the broader community. Lee Lawson, our planning director, is working closely with TDOT officials on our community mobility plan. That's the plan for all of the state routes in Manchester and Tullahoma, and looking at possible improvements. $10,000 is our matching funds for that planning grant. Light Up South Jackson Civic Center improvements. As we all know, we finished up on the north side of the building, beautiful parking improvements, lighting, sidewalks. Well, that was done with about $90,000 in support from the community and our women's club. And phase 2 of the project is to carry on those improvements around the south side of the building. We are looking to do that with, hopefully, if we're awarded, there's a grant that Winston's working on right now for $75,000 that would support that south side of improvement project. And then we would have our remaining funds, about $75,000 or $80,000 to put towards it. And it would be for parking, lighting, 3-phase power, and then if there's any additional money, we may try to renovate and create some new bathrooms inside the facility. The new police department, we're still currently in design. We're at the schematic design phase, but things are moving. I have every other Wednesday a regular meeting scheduled with the owner's rep and our architect on that project, so we just keep it moving a little bit at a time, and as it gets further along, we'll start meeting every Wednesday to keep the project moving forward. Cedar Lane, that's a project that's going to be a long time in the making. Those are the projects along North Jackson, William Northern, and Cedar Lane, and so it's only in the environmental phase right now. Our Collins and Grundy sidewalks, you can see those under construction. One thing I will mention is that I've been in talks with the design firm that designed that project on some, now that we see it and how it's constructed, we've had some concerns about the design that we want to go back. And so I'll most likely, at one of the June meetings, be bringing you a change order on that project to do some additional improvements and actually carry the sidewalks a little further in front of the library. I don't know if any of you have noticed that, but it kind of stops short before it gets to the driveway of the library, and we want to carry that, complete the look. And also do some improvements along that drainage way. The Silver Street Park project, that's one that we successfully were awarded an $85,000 grant, and it's being designed right now. And then they've been working, we have a consultant that's been working on the new roof and HVAC. It's a replacement, but also a relocation. We're moving the HVAC equipment off of the roof onto the ground level, so it'll be easier to service in the future, and looking to get those bids out this month. So going forward into the next budget year, obviously we have to complete the projects that aren't yet completed, and then this is a list of some additional projects that are under consideration. A lot of these we've already discussed, so Light Up South Jackson Phase 2 improvements, the Avoca Road Kings Lane sidewalks, the Silver Street Park. If we want to add any additional funding to that park project, I'd like to see maybe $100,000 dedicated in local funds. And then the ADA transition plan, you've heard me talk about that. We completed the first, it's a 2-part plan. The first part was a self-assessment where we look at our infrastructure and identify where we feel there's need for improvement. And so we've completed that part, but by the end of this calendar year, we have to have a plan put together that identifies how various alternatives for how we'll make those improvements, and then also gives us some probable costs. And then the next step, once we have that plan adopted, would be to start funding it every year. So we start chipping away at those improvements. Some projects that I don't yet have numbers for, the Avoca Road traffic improvement. So like I said, I just received the traffic study back from Gresham Smith in my inbox this morning. So once I have time to read it, I'll know what their recommendations are. What they described to me is that they would provide us a whole menu of options, ranging from things we could do immediately for very low cost, all the way to some sort of more expensive project like a roundabout or some other project like that. Tennessee Downtowns program, I anticipate, if we haven't already, we'll have a grant award with that project, and we may have local matching funds for that. And then all of our city facilities, I would like to do a space needs assessment, and also particularly City Hall, look at the structure and see what kind of program we could put together to do some rehab and improvements here. And then last, I skipped over the streetscape. We're doing the plan now, but obviously we will need some funding in place once we have the plan to move the projects forward, to start implementing it. Okay. And then last, I'll show you our streets capital projects. This is the status of some of those projects and where they're at. I won't read through all of those. I thought you may also, going into this budget, the mayor and I haven't yet, but we will sit down and kind of talk through the capital improvement program, and we'll talk about a possible use of some city reserves for some of those projects. Projects that are one-time or capital expenses there may be a good reason to use reserves this year to cover some of those. So we will talk about that. Okay. And then last, I thought I would show you an update on the city and school debt schedule. One of the helps that we're getting with putting this budget together is that we have a one-time benefit. We are not yet paying on the principal on our 2017 loans. So this year, we actually, in the city debt, which is that blue shaded bars at the bottom, you'll see for 2020, we have a one-time reduction in our debt service payments this year. So that's helping to offset some of those increased expenses that I showed you. For city schools, they don't have a drop-off until 2022. And then assuming that neither one of us were to borrow any new money, we would both have a significant drop-off in 2027. Okay. And then last slide, I will say thank you, because it's a lot of work to talk through all these numbers and try to plan for the next 12 months. And I just want to say thank you to Sue Wilson and her finance staff, all of the department heads who have answered many, many questions from me, and then John Glass with the airport, Tom Robinson with TAEDC, and John Carver with City Schools. So thank you.
Ms. Moody, thank you very much. Any questions? This is the next step in the process. Thank you, Ms. Moody. Good job. And he's finished now. You can go home now.
Thank you.